We talk about leadership in dentistry. I think it's critically important, but we put the onus on us to really learn. Let me tell you what a real leader is. You're not a real leader until you develop other leaders.
This is Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast where we ask the question, what does growth in dentistry look like to you? I'm Katie Polson, a dental hygienist and your host.
Welcome to another episode of Growth in Dentistry. I'm Katie Polson, and we are in for a real treat today. Our pre-show talking lasted 15 minutes, so that'll just give you a real good idea of what we're in for today. Again, before we get started, I just wanted to invite you to rate and review this podcast. We read everyone and we appreciate it genuinely. So thank you so much. We want to introduce you to Kirk Behrendt from Dental, and it's going to be super great. I just wanted to review a little bit, just in case you guys haven't heard him or who he is. I got to read his bio here, and it really is inspiring. He's been invested more than 25 years to this profession in dentistry. He got his start by being a 3-time employee of the month from Applebee's.
I believe it.
And inspired by Jerry Maguire. His story is really great. And if we have time, we'll let him talk to us about it. But really, he's a very an amazing motivator, and is inspiring dentists and their teams all over the country, and is a big believer in family life with his 4 kids, Kinsey, Lily, Zoe, and Bo, and his amazing wife. So welcome to our podcast, Kirk. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I often don't get to go places where I can just talk freely and just somebody actually enjoys no, I'm just kidding, but I'm pumped to be here. I'm a big fan of you guys. You guys have changed our lives. And so, and I love this great profession. So thrilled to be here. Yeah.
So I've listened to many of your podcasts, and you have a breadth of knowledge on a lot of topics. So we really are in for a big treat. Our goal with this episode, we're kicking off that's a pun intended. We're kicking off our Kickstart for 2022 for practices. Most of them probably have come up with their goals probably by now. We're into January. They're already starting to work on them. But I wanted to talk a little bit about just an idea of maybe it'll kind of give them an idea of maybe they forgot something or how to do something better as they listen to this podcast. And then following this podcast, we'll add into the show notes an infographic that you can download between Dental Intelligence and ACT on coming up with just 30-day routine on what you should do to follow the January 2022 guidelines to help you set off to a great new year or great 2022. So that being said, Kirk, what do you think the top tasks are, items that you suggest an office do in January to have a fantastic year, and break it down? You could break it down by role, however you want to do it, but let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Katie, you're going to have to interrupt me at any point. I actually like being interrupted as much. Now, this is one of my favorite questions you're asking. And I'll tell you, I've been on this journey forever. And I want to talk about, I'm going to give you exactly what to do. And I'm telling you, it's going to change your entire life and everyone else around you. Now, it's nothing new. It's actually been around for a long time, and some of you have already been aware of it. It's about breaking it down, making it simple, and working together. Now, there's let's talk about the problem here. The problem is you're a dentist. You're listening to this, and you think everything is important. You're an entrepreneur. You look at the marketing, you look at the metrics, you look at you're thinking everything is important. So you probably did what I did. You go into every meeting and go, guys, I got an idea. And they're like, oh Lord, no more ideas. Or I just went to this course this year. We're doing digital dentistry. And they're like, oh my gosh, somebody distract this guy. And it's usually, you got idea after idea after idea after idea. Well, what you don't know is you're exhausting the heck out of everybody. What your team needs is to work together. Would you agree? Like, you got to get everybody working together. And in dentistry, I want you to think about this before I tell you the solution. You don't need perfect. You just need progress. Would you agree? If you're a dentist, listen, if this year or next year is better than last year, you're good. If things get a little bit better, you're good. If we reduce our evening hours or get rid of them, we're good. We work, like, if we get a little better this year, we're good. And so what I'm going to introduce to you guys It's nothing new. It's the idea of breaking it down and making it more simple. And so, Katie, you guys have seen this, and I know you guys do something similar to this, but the prerequisite for what I'm going to tell you to do is read the book Traction by Gino Wickman. I read a lot of stuff. I bug my team about a lot of stuff. That's the only one that has stuck for years, because you can't argue with one page in the book. Now, some of you are listening and go, well, that book is sophomoric. Well, it's written for me because I'm not that smart. But here's what I'm going to tell you to do. And Katie, stop me at any time. What I want you to do is sit down and take a look at what the next year, actually the next 3 years is going to look like. Then I want you to determine what the next year is going to look like. Those plans have to relate. There's got to be a relationship. And then I want you to take the 1 year plan and break it up into 4 segments. It's called quarterly planning. It's 13 weeks. Every human being can get around a couple priorities and a couple KPIs for 13 weeks. Now, this is why this is such a great relationship for us with Dental Intel, because I used to look at everything. Now I don't have to. When we work with the dental office, it's super easy. I want to figure out who the heck they are, their core values, their core purpose, and then we're going to break it up into 3 to 5 priorities for the entire practice. Now, I don't care if you have 8 team members or 80. I'm going to break up that team into 3 equal groups or 4 equal groups, and they're going to work on 4. You guys would agree, it's better to get 3 things done in 1 quarter as a team than try to do 92 and do them poorly. Now, let me go to the metric side. With Dental Intel's help, you can plug it in and instantly you can see the opportunities. And so I used to track everything. Now we don't.
Yeah.
Now we only track 3 to 5 things. And you guys listen to this. If you're a dentist, if you take 3 to 5 things that aren't good and you make them a little bit better, it has an exponential impact on the practice. Now here's the benefit to the whole team. And I'm going to do this in January. My team whole comes here. I go, you guys, did we get this done? They go, yes, we did. And they put a little mark. And I go, do we do this one? They go, yes, we did. And then I go, do we do this? And they go, yes, we did. And then they go, I think we could do more. And I go, what? What are you talking about? Like what it does is it creates a collective confidence.
Yes.
Your team, the people around you now think you're less, I mean, you're always crazy, but they think you're less crazy. They're like, wow, he or she can stay committed for 13 weeks to a cause. And we can all get this done. And everybody uses this word. We need to work together. Well, what are you doing right now that supports what you just asked for? This is the perfect operating system to put in any dental practice. Again, I don't care if you have 80 team members or 800 team members. That's the only way you get people working together is when everybody uses these phrases like rowing in the same direction, whatever. Like, show me you're doing it on a weekly cadence. And so I like the idea of simple. Our team right now, Act Dental, has 5 KPIs. We don't have 30, 5 that make all the difference in the world. And we know when 1 week they fall in the red, it impacts our goals. So Katie, that's the,
I want to interject here. Yeah. I want to interject here just with our software. I think I get a lot of people, we give you everything. Like when you log into our dashboards, it's easy to feel like, oh my gosh, there is so much here. You have to figure out what it is. What are your, and priority actually is when it is a root, the Greek is 1, priority. It's not, we kind of like changed it into priorities is multiple. And so I love the idea of taking 3 for a quarter and even doing 1 a month, right? And then kind of like focus and then reevaluate and then kind of move on to the next one. Because when you really do give your team so much stuff, it's information overload and they cannot function like that. They just, and nobody can because I don't know if you've read the book Essentialism, but that is just, we cannot focus on more than one thing at a time. And so I love that idea.
Wait, back up. Yeah. Essentialism. I'm going to put the backup sign. Essentialism, you guys, that is a religious experience. If you read that book, it will shake you because Katie, what you're saying, like you're talking my language now, because we don't need to do more. And you and I were talking about being in our circles. Like I only have one goal for every human being. I don't care who it is. When you're living in your circle, which is what God asked you to do or what you've been called to do or what your talents like, First of all, I don't care if you have a sewing company. I don't care if you have a website. I don't care if you're a dental assistant. I don't care if you're a dentist. When you're spending 90 to 80% of your day just staying in your circle, you're happy. I guarantee you, you're creating value for other human beings. And I guarantee you, if you can't find a way to be compensated, please call Katie and I will help you figure that piece out. But you're exact. I love the root word of priority. I'm learning from you, and trust me, like here, Katie, let's help them fill in their charts today. So some of you might be listening. You're, oh, that's a great idea. Okay, listen, Doc, this is what I want you to get some Post-it notes. Ask your team, because they have to weigh in order to buy it. Say, hey guys, if we were going to work on a few things next quarter, what do you think we should fix? They're going to fill out all these Post-it notes, put them all over the window, the wall. Now you're going to see a lot of them are the same thing. You'll go, this one is the same one. And when you put them all together, you're going to have a maximum of 6 to 7 clusters. That's it. You won't have 30. You'll have 6. Now, you as the business owner, you get to decide. That's ultimately, it's your practice. And what I want you to do is sit with your team and go, thank you so much, because this is truly what we need to be working on. Let's just pick these 3. Do you guys agree these 3 are the most important? And they'll all go, yes, Doc. And that's easy. Now, on the metric side of things, we could do 2 hours in the metric thing. Let me just help you fill in your one-page strategic plan. Unscheduled active patients through the help of dental intel is one of the most important. Like, you're going to, first of all, Doc, when you pull that number, it's going to give you chest pain. You're going to go, I have 652 unscheduled active patients. Now, let me explain to you what that means. That means you have real patients that are active, that are not tethered to your practice with any kind of appointment. Stop doing Facebook ads. Stop doing billboards. Those are trying to attract people that don't even know you. You have people that love you, know you, and they're not scheduled. Now, again, we don't need perfect, but if there's 652, think about this. In one quarter, let's go to 522. And then the quarter after that, let's go to 422. I guarantee you every hygienist is going to go, stop. We have nowhere to put these people. Stop. No more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity in that little, for those of you who've never been on Dental Intel, there's a little pie chart that has unscheduled active appointments, and it goes from 90 days to 60 days to 30 days to just recently seen. And there is so much opportunity in that one little chart.
Oh yeah, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. Since so Weston and Rob Bay came to my office, I don't even know how many years ago, but they spent 2 days with me, and I had these spreadsheets, and they're like, well, when we're done with you for the next 2 days, you're going to throw those spreadsheets away. And I'm like, I'll be the judge of that. I spent my life building those spreadsheets where doctors would track 222 lines of data. At the end of 2 days, I was like, okay, I guess I'm throwing spreadsheets away, so. And they also taught me the profitability formula, which is, that's a whole nother podcast. But once you understand the impact of PPV and visits, I mean, this is kind of a bold statement, but I don't even need to know your name. I don't even need to meet you. I don't even need to know where your practice is. I don't even need to know what kind of dentistry you're doing. I could actually plug what Weston gave me into your practice. I guarantee you I could improve your profitability without even talking to you. That's how brilliant what you guys shared with me is. So let me package this up. And again, I like simple. Everything you do has got to be on one sheet of paper. This is our goals. This is who we are, blah, blah, blah. And your team has got to be able to see it almost like a scoreboard. And when you can see the profitability formula, you can go back to, okay, what metrics are going to be working on, which are leading indicators like PPV or visits or something like that. And you can go, hey, our PPV isn't the best. Let's see if we can improve it a little bit. I'm not looking for perfect. These incremental, I like to think of them as dials. I'm just going to make a little adjustment to this dial, a little adjustment. It's kind of like flight controls. And you know what? The plane lands exactly, almost precisely where you want it to land when you play with these dials. Wouldn't you agree, Katie?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. It's amazing. And you can use it for, I just created a calculator based off of incentives and bonus for staffs, and I use the profitability formula. You can use it for anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I've got 5 hours of what I want to say about like this planning process and how you look at your year. But the cool thing that you guys have helped me with is, let me just share with you. I'm an eye on the disc profile. I'm a wuss. I've been clinically diagnosed as a wuss, which means I hate conflict. I want everybody to be happy. I love every person I've ever met for the most part. And so when it comes to difficult conversations with team members, there's nobody worse than me. I go, yeah, no problem. Because yeah, you're doing great, and they're not doing great. Like the cool thing about data is it takes all the emotion out of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
When you have data, there's no emotion. And let me just say this, Curtis helped me with this. So Curtis, shout out to you. When you and I don't have any data, we're just talking and it's anecdotal. You're talking about how you feel and how hard you've been working. And I am telling you about how frustrated I feel, and that's a bomb waiting to go off. When you have data, just like a cardiologist does, just like a school teacher, could you imagine a day where you go into your school where your kids go to school and you sit down with the teacher and you go, how's my kid doing? And the teacher goes, well, we don't give grades here. We just give stars. You'd go, different school, or right. Could you imagine going to a cardiologist who goes, no, we don't pull any blood work. I just like to talk to people, and you're running, you're eating your salads, you look great. And I'd be like, different cardiologists. The cool thing about data, and Katie, can I go one more layer?
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. People are in this world where they don't want to have any accountability. I mean, and it goes all the way down to our kids. My daughter has a medal from a swim meet that's 11th place. I was so mad when she I'm like, give that back. There's only 6 lanes in a pool. Like, seriously, nobody needs, not every kid needs a medal because they just happen to show up. Okay. I'm not even going to get into that, but the bottom line is that's not how the world works. We all need data so that we can improve it. Heck, 4th grade kids on a baseball diamond can look at a scoreboard and go, Coach, we're 2 runs down. We only have 2 innings left. We should probably XYZ. I'm like, good idea, Johnny. You know what I mean? Yeah. They can figure stuff out. They know when they're not doing good. Same principle applies adults. And again, you as a doctor, you want everybody to get along. That's why the importance of using something like Dental Intel, you guys manage billions and billions of data points for us. Billions. I can pull it like any blood work in any dental office. I can see what your hygienist did yesterday. They can tell you now I'm not trying to create any division between you and your team, but your data doesn't lie. It tells me exactly what's going on. And really what it really does is it tells us where opportunities exist. You're going to see some numbers that are in the red. Don't get mad. Just be open to how we might make them a little bit better. And again, let me go back to this. You take these little dials and quarter after quarter, or just improving this dial and this dial. And again, there's only 5 of them max. I would actually tell you, if you've never done this before, let's do 2 KPIs and 2 priorities for the first 90 days. Yeah. Let's get that hammer. And then when you graduate after 13, you guys, it's 13 weeks. The second 13 weeks go to 3 priorities and 3 KPIs. And then once you've done this for a while, it's going to take you a full year before your team. The other thing, your team is waiting for you to give up on this system. They're like, okay, he or she's all excited. I'll go with it for 13 weeks, but then it'll be something else because he's going to take another course. They need to see you do this for 4 quarters to go, she's not messing around. Like she's.
And I would add that because the staff can track the metrics with you, even on their mobile device, that they'll get more buy-in, and they'll see, they might, like, by the end of the 13 weeks, they probably won't want to stop, especially if they're, if it's a team effort and maybe there's even a bonus or whatever. Maybe it's just that practice is better, whatever it is you're going to be motivated by. Doing it this way, it's not going to be one of those things where you go to a conference and you come home and as a hygienist, I'm like, well, here he goes. He's going to implement this for 2 weeks and I'm going to ignore it and then it will go away. Yeah.
Katie, that's brilliant. Like you're introducing one of the most important pieces here. That's why she has a master's in communication. And I have a BA in communication. So, because I could, but you'll understand what you're saying, Katie, is like the best part. Now think about this. If you're a dentist, your team is filling in the chart and telling you how they're doing. You're not going, let me tell you how you're doing. You show up to the meetings and go, how are we doing? All right, what do we got? And you know what? That's when it becomes fun. It really does. Now, let me just say this. I'm going to introduce a big problem. People use accountability all the time. Oh, accountability, and they misdefine it. Accountability requires accounting. It's not a trust thing. Oh, you don't trust me. Stop. I have teenage daughters. They say, oh, you don't trust me. It's still a number. You have to be home at 11 p.m., not 11:01, not 11:02. When I say 11, it means 10:59. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important that we just define this, talk about it, make sure the rules are really clear. And when your team, Katie, that's exact, week after week. Now, the other thing about the importance of what we're asking you to do in 2022 is, remember, we're doing this for 13 weeks. Every week, you're reporting on leading indicators. Now, let me tell you why that's important. You can see instantly if last week we were off or on. And it allows me to make adjustments, and we call them countermeasures. So if it's in the red, if we got a number in the red, I just want to know what your countermeasure is so we get back to the green. It's not wait until the month ends and see what we do next month. No, there are things we can do this week so that it's in the green. What gets reported on gets improved, but what gets reported and measured and discussed exponentially improves, because you as a leader, now think about this too. You're going to lean into what Katie just said, and you're going to go, okay, great idea. How can I help? You as a dentist now become the coach, the helper, not the enforcer, the mean person. And most of you went into dentistry because you care about people. You care about human beings. This system that I'm proposing allows you to be a great human being. They do the accountability. You get to decide where the practice goes. They work on it together, and they all weigh in so they can buy in. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And then now you are a leader and not a manager by definition, if you do it this way. Yeah.
Katie, I love talking to you, because let me add, this is a whole nother podcast, but let me introduce this too. We talk about leadership in dentistry. I think it's critically important, but we put the onus on us to really learn. Let me tell you what a real leader is. You're not a real leader until you develop other leaders. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. So I used to think leadership was develop my skills, well, I'm not that smart. What I've learned is I find great people and take good care of them and nurture them and give them clear lines of sight. They become great leaders, and it allows me to look at them and go, I'm so proud of you. That's the onus. And what a system like this does is you'll have departments, you'll have people, we call them champions. Who's going to be the champion for unscheduled active patients? You're developing leaders. They're coming to you every single week going, Doc, we're off. And you go, how can I help? And they go, well, what should I do? And you'll have 3 ideas that you can give them that they can go to work on, not you say, let me work on that, I'll get back to you. You don't want to give yourself more things to do. You want to create a support system. And that's why I like the idea of an operating system. With dental intel, this makes it so easy. There's too much to look at in dental intel, and you can do what Katie just said. I'm going to pick this one. Ooh, that could improve. That one. I guarantee you make progress on those over 13 weeks. Everything's getting better. Now, one more thing, that's not true, 30 more things. What the system allows you to do is put your energy where it matters most. And what Curtis helped me understand is that leading indicators make the biggest impact. Now, when he taught me that, I was like, holy moly, because a lot of the things that I measured for a long time were lagging indicators, were production, collections. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what happened last month. Now, it's important to look at all that, don't get me wrong, but when we're paying attention to leading indicators, I'll tell you this, the lagging indicators take care of themselves. Yeah. You never have to. And the other thing, one more benefit to that, most leading indicators are not money. When you're talking about production and collections every day in your huddle, your team members hear this, wah, 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 money, wah, 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 more money, wah, 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 more money. We need wah, 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 more money. Now, you might be laughing or you might not be laughing, but the truth of it is they hear what they want to hear when you say those things. The cool thing about unscheduled active patients, there's no money involved. These are real people. We got to get back in here. Oh, by the way, when we bring them in here, now these numbers get better. The chairs are full. The chairs are full with the right people, which lends itself to just a happier practice. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. There's a lot of small leading indicators that are available in dental until that you can just start
Yeah.
hacking away at. Yep.
Yeah. Now I want to be cognizant to the fact that you're trying to keep me to 20 minutes, which is nearly
No, you're okay.
impossible.
Yeah, I know.
But I do want to go back and, because when you guys listen to a lot of podcasts, I get it. There's a lot of how many dental podcasts are there, Katie?
I think when I did my research, over 150. So we appreciate that you're even listening to this one.
We love that you're here. Now you're probably going to jump to 120 others after this, but the whole idea is to give you something actionable, and it's this: sit down. Number one, dentistry is an amazing profession. Don't ever tell yourself you can't do something. That's a lie. And that's a lie that becomes a truth. Sit down and tell yourself the next year is going to be the best year of our lives. Do it over and over and over again, rinse and repeat. Decide where you want to be in 3 years, and then decide where you want to be in 1 year. And those should relate. They shouldn't be something different that's, and then take the 1 year plan and break it up into 4 segments quarterly. It's 90 days. It's 13 weeks. And everybody, even 4th grade kids, could get their brain around, what are we doing for the next 13 weeks? Well, let me tell you, we're working on 3 things here, and we're working on 3 things here, and we're working together on those things. It's magic. So
Yeah.
Hope that helps. And the cool thing about an operating system like this is you rinse and repeat every 90 days. You don't even have to think about it. It's stupid easy. It's stupid simple. And some people say this. Now, Katie, here's the number one thing that causes the most problems. Dentists listen to this podcast and they go, no, I get it, but my practice is so crazy different. This would never, whatever. Okay. I don't care if you have a lawn mowing business. I don't care if you have a construction business. I don't care if you have a law firm. This is an operating system that works in every business, period.
Yeah. Because it takes into account human behavior, and you can't change human behavior because we're all humans, right? So keeping people I love that accountable is root word. You can tell I'm a word person, is accounting, right? And everybody, regardless of whether you're trying to lose weight or eat better or whatever, you're always more successful when you have accountability involved. It doesn't matter what you're trying to achieve. It's just human nature. Yeah.
Accountability has to incorporate accounting and numbers. It's not a trust. I hope you do it. I believe in you. Yeah. No, we use the words trust and verify. Like the data should show. And let me just add one more thing, Katie, because you're opening up Pandora's box. Your favorite team members you'll ever employ love accountability. Mm-hmm. The least favorite people you'll ever work with, ever do business with, ever hire, ever contract, hate accountability.
Yeah.
So that is a red flag. Anytime somebody doesn't like accountability, I put a red flag right here. There's a reason you don't want to talk. Like I worked with a contractor one time and he said, well, I'll be out there Friday. I said to him, which Friday? Are we talking any Friday? Because you've said Friday to me 19 times. And the contractors I've hired, they all say this. No, I finish on time. And you know what they do? They do. They finish right on time. The world works with really good accountability. It's healthy. There's order. It's not messy. So my hope is good accounting next year.
Well, this has been a really fast couple 20, 30 minutes, but we appreciate you listening. Before we let Kirk go, I just want to say, we ask this question to every guest, and I feel like you're going to give a great answer. And that is because growth is personal to everyone. So what does it mean to you? What does growth in dentistry mean and look like to you?
Growth in dentistry to me is this, and this might not apply to everyone. There are people that fix teeth and there are people that change lives. It's not the same practice. And so I feel like now I'm 51, which means I'm officially playing the back 9 of my life, which the first 9, you realize there's a certain point where you wake up and you go, I have less holes in front of me on the golf course than I do behind me. And the first 9, it's all about like making it work. It's about success. It's about like figuring it all out. I got to get my family. The back 9, you realize this doesn't go on forever. I got to make a difference in the world. Like what I do right now has to matter. It's got to bring value to people's lives. It's about significance. And so my growth in dentistry, I think number one starts with self-awareness and then really appreciating where you are in the journey. Some of you are listening to this and you're 55 and it's not about money anymore. It's about improving people's lives, changing people's lives. I can appreciate all aspects of the journey, but it's great when you can understand where you are on this continuum and you can talk to a younger dentist and go, I was you one day long ago. And I'm just telling you, you got 3 decades in front of you, buddy. And it's an amazing career if you can get your head and your heart right, because you're going to change a lot of lives. And it's special. This industry is crazy noble. It's amazing. And if you can harness that, it just makes for a great journey. You're going to impact a lot of people. So
I've listened to a lot of answers to that question now. And I think that's the one that has ringed true the most to me. So thank you so much. I know a lot of listeners have heard it before, and I don't mean to be too personal, but I really just want to bring it home a little bit more, just because it is so important. My dad was 65 when he passed away as a dentist. He had practiced for 30 years. And the people that came, just the amount of stories that came out after his death of, he helped me with this and he didn't make us pay and he made it, whatever. His funeral was so, like, we just weren't prepared for the amount of people that were going to come to the viewing and the funeral. And that just goes to show the amount of impact one single dentist can make. You really did choose an amazing profession. So thank you so much for that answer.
That's a beautiful story. I never met your dad. I had no doubt. Many people loved him, and he did make the world a better place.
Yeah, he did. And that's the power of dentistry. And I think that's why I'm obsessed with this profession. It really is just fantastic. Yeah. Well, this has been Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast. Again, special thanks to our guest, Kirk. You can find him. Where do you want them to find you with Act Dental?
Oh, just come hang out with us at Act Dental, actdental.com. All things. I mean, our whole goal, you guys have been an incredible partner, is just to make a better practice and a better life. You know, we have one focus, just help people improve their practices. And we want them to be better spouses, better parents, better everything. And that's when the journey becomes fun.
And you can find him at his podcast at the Best Practices podcast. It's really, I mean, I don't know why you're listening to this one. You should turn it off and go listen to his.
This is great.
Just kidding you. And you can find all those, the links to where I'm going to put a couple of the links to those books we've mentioned in our webpage and the show notes. And then also, again, this is a really broad topic. This is a lot to take in. We're going to put it into a little infographic. There's even more that we want to talk about that we didn't get to. We're going to put it in an awesome infographic. You can share it with your team members. You can find that in the show notes as well. So thank you again for joining me, and thanks again to our marketing department for all of their hard work on this podcast. I'm Katie Polson. Keep growing.